So I was in the middle of editing my I was in the middle of editing a video that I was doing when it comes to like Nintendo, and I absolutely had to talk about this. Not only talk about this, but talk about this on camera because it seems like this is probably Sony's biggest failure that I've ever seen in the decade plus that I've been covering PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, whatever the case is, PC gaming. I don't think I've seen a bigger failure at launch from a first party company for a video game, especially a game in the modern age. I mean, we've seen stuff flop and fail before, but Concord, I think at this point, has to be the absolute biggest failure Sony has ever done from a game standpoint, because they've announced that it's already going offline and they are refunding customers. So if you've bought it, you can get a full refund. This is how poorly, this is how garbage the sales have been for this game. And it was so funny because you saw a bunch of PlayStation people trying to defend and say, oh no, it's picking up, or oh no, we don't need PC sales in order for this to be a success. I had people on my own Twitter feed saying this to me, and it was so hilarious to see it. But let's get into what Sony had to say about Concord and its sales. I'm reading right from this. Shout outs to Wario64, but this is straight from the PlayStation blog themselves. An important update on Concord. Concord fans, this is from Ryan Ellis, game director at Firewalk Studios. Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC, and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. Your support and the passionate community has grown around the game has meant the world to us. However, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that the other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6, 2024, and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately and will begin to offer full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 or PC. If you purchase the game for PlayStation 5 from the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct, a refund will be issued back to your original payment method. Customers who purchased from other digital storefronts will also be refunded. More information about refunds from Steam and Epic can be found. You have the Steam Store. Steam Store refunds players who bought the game over the coming days. Steam will send confirmations of the refund once it's been processed. Epic Game Store will refund players who bought the game over the coming days and will contact each customer directly to confirm that the refund has been processed. Other retailer refunds. For customers who have purchased a physical copy at a retailer location outside of PlayStation directly, please refer to the refund process of the retailer you purchased it from to obtain your refund. Once refunded, players will no longer have access to the game. We'll keep you updated, and thank you again to all the free gunners who have joined us in the Concord Galaxy. They also say refunds for PlayStation Store and PlayStation Direct purchases may take 30 to 60 days to appear on your bank statement. If your original payment source was unavailable, the purchase amount will be refunded to your PSN wallet. So once again, guys, this is a massive thing, because I don't recall a time that Sony's ever released some type of multiplayer or live service and they shut it down. They essentially shut it down and offered full refunds for everybody within what, a week or so? It's been 2 weeks since this game came out, a week and some odd days since this game launched, and they're already shutting things down and don't know what to do with the future of the franchise. We got sales numbers, or at least we got estimated sales, that this game sold around 25,000 units, like 15,000 on PlayStation 5 and only 10,000 or so on PC. There was an all-time peak high of less than 1,000 players on PC. Nobody was playing the game, it seems, but the employees and their friends. This was a failure of epic proportion, and I'm not trying to sit here and try to exaggerate or anything. This is a bad look. This is a bad look for Sony. This is a bad look for their game studios. This is a bad look for the new employees that were working on this game, that Sony purchased this company. There are so many things that you can sit here and say this is a bad look. And listen, I know I'm going to get a lot of people getting angry at whatever I say here, and that's whatever. I don't really care. At the end of the day, something like Japan Studios shutting down, that type of, I would say, passion and that type of company that Japan Studio was, Sony's Japan Studio, and shutting all of that down. And I'm not going to say it was for stuff like this, but shutting them down and spending your money on things like this is going to get people saying, wait a minute, a Gravity Rush 3 would have been way better. Wait a minute, we would have been way better with The Last Guardian or some of these other games that Sony Japan Studio put together and was lit for people to play, that reviewed very well. When this whole Jim Ryan live service nonsense was being put into play here, it's terrible for gamers, and this is the result of it. Yeah, you might have some hits like Helldivers 2, and that's fantastic. Helldivers 2 is great, but a lot of the times you're going to get Suicide Squads. You're going to get stuff like Concord. You're going to get games like this that flop in this whole live service bubble. It's not always going to work out for you when it comes down to it. Whereas you can still go and take all of those old Sony Japan studios, no matter how bad you want to say that they sold. I see people all the time saying nobody bought them. Okay, I get that. People didn't buy Gravity Rush like that, but it still sold way better than Concord and didn't take 8 years to make, which Concord took 8 years to develop and they had to purchase them. So for me, I'm looking at it like, hey, I can still go and play these older games that I have on my PlayStation 3 or my PS Vita or my PS4. All the games that Sony Japan Studios did from a single player perspective, at least they're still functional. At least there's still something there, even after the company is shut down. What is there to show for us when it comes to live service? What do you have to show when they're just shutting all things down? And I've been trying to say this for so long when it comes to these stupid live service games, these dumb always online games. You pay and sure, you get your money's worth or whatever you think that your money's worth with the online multiplayer, but what is there to show for it if it doesn't do well? What if they shut it down prematurely? What if they stop creating content for it? You're not going to have much left to show. And right now, there's nothing when it comes to Concord, except for your dreams and memories of a barren wasteland of nobody playing this game that's not that great, to be honest. Gravity Rush and so many other games, so many other franchises that Sony is neglecting completely smoke this stuff, and they're out here making bad decisions. Here's one thing that I'm really kind of tired of, guys, overall, when it comes down to it, and people saying, oh, well, they didn't know. Oh, well, it was the trend. Oh, well, we wanted to do this. Why would you follow up on a trend that takes you 6, 7, 8 years or so to do? If you know it's going to take you that long to build some type of bad Overwatch clone or live service multiplayer battle royale game, if it ain't going to be done in the next few years or so, why greenlight it? I'm tired of people sitting there and saying that they didn't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time. No, not if it's going to take 8 years to make. Not if it's going to take 6 or 7 years to make. As someone who has experience in project management and kind of looking at long-term projects, no, I wouldn't do that, especially if you're going off of a fad like Always Online or a fad like these online gaming where you don't have anything after it's done. At least with certain games, like I said, single player, you can appeal to people who want to play offline. At least there's something. This now becomes an empty void of nothing, and they're just giving you the money back. But if there was an actual single player content, if there's actual meat and potatoes in the game, they probably wouldn't refund anything. They just say, hey, the game's going offline, and yeah, you can enjoy the offline content. But now there's absolutely nothing. These are bad decisions. Stop defending the bad decisions of these copycat always online stuff where they don't want to build any type of single player content. They don't want to give you guys anything more than that. I think that's the biggest thing going forward that people need to realize and understand. Always online is not your friend. Multiplayer only is not your friend. Useless discs or useless digital downloads with nothing else on top of it outside of just online multiplayer with no potential plan for offline at all. Nothing that's said to you is not your friend, no matter how many great always online games you might play, like Fortnite or like PUBG or any of these other games that have massive success. This stuff isn't for you, for the gamers. They're looking to hook you forever with stuff and get you into their ecosystem of always online. And if it doesn't work out, this is the result with nothing to show for it. You wasted your time, you wasted your effort, you wasted your money, but I guess you're gonna get a refund. But overall, it's just nonsense. This is what I've been talking about with games like Concord, where they don't want to actually build a real game. And now, once again, this is just an epic, epic, epic failure overall for Sony. Like, I've never seen anything like it. This is something that they absolutely need to address. And I think that going forward, this whole live service thing needs to put the kibosh on it. Unless you know you got a banger, you've got a hit that you're going to spend 5, 6, 7 years making or whatever the case is, unless you know for a fact it's going to be something and you build that game out with some actual single player content so people have something if it goes up in flames, I would say you cancel all of the live service stuff. It's time to get serious about this, guys, because this is the game that they were shilling and pushing so much that they had a, 10-minute trailer or so showing this game off and the daily updates and all those promises of all that. What happened? It's gone just like that. All that stuff that they promised, where is it at? It's gone, right? It's completely gone. There's nothing. If all that stuff was put on a disc and you actually bought it or put in your download and you bought it, you'd still have it. If it was a single player game. Do you guys see what I'm talking about with this stuff? Stop buying into it, which a lot of you guys, to your credit, did not buy into that nonsense, but there still were a number of people talking about how, oh, well, it's just Concord. Other stuff needs to happen. This can happen to any game that comes out. This could happen to a game that you're actually looking forward to and it ends up flopping. I mean, we've seen it happen before. It's going to happen in the future. But from a first-party company with Sony and all this, man, this is just ridiculous. I mean, it really is. But hey, it is what it is, Concord. A lot of the devs were talking all sorts of stuff, getting into arguments with people online, sitting there and saying things, having some suggestive stuff in their game, start playing the culture war nonsense and all that. You start doing that, you're going to find yourself in trouble at times. Not all the time, but at times you're going to find yourself in trouble, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. But what do you guys think overall with this whole Concord nonsense, this mess, this biggest failure, in my opinion, biggest recent, I would say modern failure of a PlayStation first-party game? It has to be, especially when you spent so much time and effort, 8 years of development. You purchased that company, Firewalk, in order to do this. Man, this is a failure overall. So what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other videos right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.